This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome to Legacy Blueprint Now. My name is Alan Pettit, and I'm the owner of this free school community that has many tiers to it. And I also own Nobility Digital Marketing, LLC, as well as Chosen Donations. And so, for those of you who don't know me, I'm reaching out to you via this video because you are a very popular, influential speaker. And your clout, your expertise is something that our community could benefit by listening to your wisdom. I would like to take the next 15 to 20 minutes to present a path that would be mutually beneficial for both of us and be worth your time. And also explain any questions you may have, how the money is going to work, and how a partnership could be stricken up, and some of the angles that will hopefully help us to save time by just understanding universally how it works in our community and how you could maximize getting exposure, getting more customers, selling your affiliate products and services, and many more optional things that we can customize just for this specific kind of situation or the kind of presentation that you desire to give to our community and beyond, because we do create evergreen content that is played out on social media everywhere forever. So if you are a guest speaker that has over 10,000 emails and over 20,000 or more followers, then I would like to talk to you. If you are aspiring and you don't have that, then this may not be a good fit for us to work together at this time. I could certainly give you some wisdom and some knowledge, and I could impart into you some ways to grow your business and grow your speakership and your clout. You would be welcome anytime in my school community. And there are some other ways that we can work together that are not necessarily in the following path that I am presenting right now, which we could get you from where you're at, transform you to being able to be qualified to be a speaker for my community. All that to being said, I am speaking now to the people who currently have that kind of influence and are willing to listen to some options for business that make sense for both of us. And so I would like to start the video with that right now. And so one thing I want to start with first is that you could be speaking anywhere. You could be talking to anyone, and you have chosen to watch this video. I'm going to try to honor your time once again and take about 15 to 20 minutes at most. I'm going to lay a path on what it could look like for generally the regular way that things work with the guest speakership. Yes, we can create a unique path just for you if that's necessary, but preferably 9 out of 10 times, we like to go down one of the following paths that we have to offer you. First and foremost, let me go over the amount of time that you can have speaking in our group. And then I'll go over the money, and then we'll go over some other things that are related to speaking that you may be wondering. So by the end of this 15-20 minutes, you should hopefully have about 99% of your questions answered. Number one, how can you speak in my community, and how long can you speak in the community? The first option to be a guest speaker is to simply do a webinar. A webinar is a one-day event. It usually does not feature a VIP session. It's literally just a 60 minutes to an hour and a half long. We try to stop the webinars at an hour and a half because people aren't really listening at that point, and they may not be listening at the hour mark either. So we don't want to waste your time, and we don't want to waste the time of the people in the room either. But if you have very engaging content, a 1.5 hour to or less session in a webinar can be extremely effective for getting your brand out there. And I will go into why you would want to choose that in a moment. Moving along the path, the next step up of being able to have immersion to my community and evergreen on the world everywhere, social media, beyond, is called a workshop. A workshop is a 2-day event typically, and 2 days long. You'll be kind of laying some foundations in day one, and then bringing the plane in for a landing in day two. These are kind of typically introductory offers. I will not allow a high ticket item to be sold in a 2-day workshop. That doesn't make any sense. They haven't spent enough time with you yet. The high ticket items are reserved for the challenges, and those are usually the best and most appropriate place to do that. And I'll get to that in a moment. So a workshop could be similar to a webinar on steroids, where it's, an hour and a half long session number one, and then the next day, same time frame, like 7 p.m. Central on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, we'll finish up the second session, which is 1.5 hours as well. So you could have an immersion experience of 3 hours long with the community, as well as the evergreen content going out through social media and the internet beyond. Those are typically going to be more of not your starter offers. And by the way, the starter offers are usually $47 or less for a one-time purchase. And then these would be kind of more the next tier up for asking for money, which would be kind of like a low ticket item. That would be somewhere between, $50 up to about $300 for what you're asking, because you're only spending 6 hours with the customers. You can't expect them to know you, like you, trust you very much at all, because 6 hours is not a very long time. Okay. These could be cut up and split into a free session as well as a VIP upgrade. I typically don't recommend that, just for the sake of ease in terms of programming the CRM that I use for automated emails. It becomes kind of a headache, and you have to do multiple email campaigns for whether they've upgraded or they haven't upgraded, and trying to upsell them. And that is a lot of effort for potentially not that much return on investment or money. So I would recommend just doing a paid admission only. And that's a better thing anyway, because even if you have less attendance, you're going to be having guaranteed money, and you're going to be having a much higher quality of people who show up in the room, because you're charging somewhere between $50 to $300 to be sitting before you for 6 hours. Okay. Sorry, for 1.5 plus 1.5, that'd be 3 hours long. Sorry, three hours long. My apologies. So that's very reasonable. People would spend $97 if you're bringing content that's worth that for a 3-hour, deep dive. And these 3 hours could be split up to multiple formats, where you're presenting information and taking a question and answer, or you're kind of flowing and doing a combination of a mixed match in between, where you're maybe sharing a little bit, getting a Q&A, sharing a bit, getting a Q&A. So those are kind of two different options for you in the workshop format. And then the next step up is going to be called a summit. A summit is much more effective than a workshop is, which is more effective than a webinar. Now you're getting to the point where you can begin to ask for a mid-ticket price. And the most effective way that you could be a guest speaker is a challenge, which I'll be getting to in a moment. So a summit is something that is 3 days or 4 days long. You're meeting for 1 to 2 hours a day. So let's say you do 2 hours. Maybe you have a free session and a VIP session. So the first hour is free, the second hour is VIP. And then maybe you have some individual one-on-ones that are offered as a bonus for the action takers or the people who want to upgrade to the VIP. So maybe they add in another hour of VIP on day 2 and day 3. So that's an option too. So it ends up being more than just 2 hours a day times 4 days. So that'd be 8 hours. You might have up to 10 hours with the really high action takers. This is where you're beginning to have extraordinary amount of immersion. People are going to know the consistency of your personality. They're going to know the value you're bringing from day one and solving problems immediately out of the gate. They're going to like who you are as a person, your values, your philosophies, and they're beginning to drink the Kool-Aid. These are the most effective, or the second most effective way to make a lot of money in a short amount of time. They also bring you the highest quality type of customers that you want to get into your ecosystem. Imagine having 4 days with a room full of 20 people that are willing to spend more than $300 with you a pop. So let's say you're selling a product or a service or a training or equipping boot camp, maybe a 2-week boot camp that you're selling, but you're creating an immersion experience for 10 hours with you. No one's going to stick with you unless they like you for 10 hours, okay? And you'll know those action takers, and you'll know who's really digging what you're putting down. Within 10 hours, it'd be very obvious from the chats, from the response, the emojis, from the way that they're doing the homework that they implement what you're saying, and they're fixing their problems on day 2 and day 3. So you'll see who the people you want to work with. You get to qualify the customers, and you get to disqualify the customers as well that you don't want to work with. This is the second most effective place to do this in, is called a summit. That's where you're 3 or 4 days with the people. I recommend summits are very, very good because they're not monopolizing time for a whole week, but they are having a kind of a sweet spot. So I really enjoy the summits quite a bit. I think they're extraordinarily effective. Okay. And so in a summit, you can increase your email list. You can also get more people to join your social media following, your communities in school. You can create all sorts of new leads from these summits. They're one of the second most effective way to get new leads. And if it's a paid experience, we'll talk about the money in a moment. You can make a lot more money in a summit than you would with a webinar or a workshop. Moving along to the final step, which is my favorite, because this is where you get to ask for your high ticket. And by the way, before we move on, your mid tickets are going to be like above $300, like I said, and you're going to go up to probably cutting off at about $999, so $997. So if you're looking at, selling $1,000, you would want to go with the summit, or you could do a challenge as well. It just matters how immersive you want to be and how much time you want to invest. So that's the ticket price that you can ask for legitimately with a summit. Now, when you go to the 5-day challenge, a challenge is something that's 5 days or more. I typically cut off a challenge by 7 days because at that point, it's getting a bit ridiculous and they need to be paying more money because you've invested so much time. But if you're going for a super high ticket, like a $10,000 product or service or training or mentoring academy, then that's the sweet spot. I will only allow an academy to be sold with a 5 to 7 day challenge. I will not allow anything less than that because it does not make any sense from the customer buying process. And there is a format that we follow when we're doing a challenge. And here's the format. Day 1 is foundational. You're sharing who you are as a person, your philosophies, why, the what and the why of what problem you're solving. You're laying a foundation. People are immediately getting value because they're inspired by your story and your success, and whatever your trinket is or your service or your mentoring academy that you're trying to sell, you begin to present it subconsciously on day 1. They don't know they're drinking the Kool-Aid, but that's what's happening. And so on day 1, you are making rapport. That's your job. You're showing your personality. You're connecting with people. You're having other people connect with other people within the group. You may challenge them to, hey, we're going to settle in for a week, guys, 5 days straight with me. And what we're going to do is I want you to have a 30-minute session breakout room where we're going to network and you're going to get to know each other as peeps. And I want you to challenge you in the next 20-minute breakout room to look for a accountability friend that you can finish this whole 5-day challenge out with. You see what's happening there? Not only are you building rapport with the potential customers of yours, but you're having your customers build rapport with each other, which makes them much more stickier. Why are you doing this? Because at the end of the 5 days, you're going to ask for $5,000 or more. I mean, you could ask for 1,000 if you want, but whatever your price point is. I recommend the 5K. That's a sweet spot. You're spending 5 days. You're basically building 1,000K of value a day. Basically what it boils down to. Days 2, 3, and 4 are going to be accentuating the fact of the following. Day 1, let's see here. What I want to do is day 1 right here is you have pushed the pain. You've created awareness in the customer buying process, because step 1 is always awareness. Okay. They have to be aware of their problem. They have to be aware of their pain. And then step 2 is consideration, where they're going around shopping, seeing if you're the right mentor for them, or if XYZ guy over here is a better mentor than you. You better bring it. Otherwise, they're going to go to XYZ people. Consideration phase should be completed by the end of day 1 for sure. They should be like, this is the right room. I'm with the right person. Okay. I need to get this guy's mentorship or this woman's mentorship or whatever. Okay. You should move them from awareness to consideration step. Now, your job for days 2, 3, 4, and especially 5 is to get them to go up the path step by step, literally step by step, to get to the final buying phase of the customer buying process, which is called decision, where they've already made their mind up. They decided you're the person to solve their problem. They're just wanting to hear value and transformational results. They want to see that on days 2, 3, 4. And by the time you get to 4, there's a special thing we'll cover in a moment, which will prime for step 5, day 5, and a potential bonus 6 or 7 days. Okay. So here's the deal. On day 2, 3, okay, let me finish the process that they're in. So you know that they're in awareness or consideration. And now you're going to accentuate the fact that there is 1 problem here that needs to be solved, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, potentially up to 10 different steps that they need to go through before they get to the final 11th place, which is the desired outcome. There's no way possible you can cover 11 things they need to do in 5 days, and that's by design. So the challenge is going to give you so much authority that by the end of it, you have on day 2, 3, and 4 solved at least one of those problems on the step. You don't want to solve too many of those problems because you want them to upgrade and go into your academy to solve the rest. So days 2, 3, and 4 are going to be about solving 3 different problem points. And not only are you solving them, but you're challenging them to implement. So that way they know that if, let's say there's 9 steps, they're already 30% done. And each day they're experiencing a complete transformation in their business. And they're immediately having a problem solved that they haven't been able to solve for months or sometimes even years. And you did it on day 2. And they're like, dang, they solved this huge problem I've been having so many problems with for years in one day. What the heck are they going to do if I stay with this person for another 5 days straight, another 4 days straight, right? You're over-delivering, under-promising, and over-delivering. That's how challenges work. If you do this right, they're going to frantically pull out their wallet by day 5 and throw money at you. You won't even have to ask for it. Well, you do have to ask for it, but you know what I mean. This is not hard pressure sales. This is not emotional manipulation either. This is simply serving first with integrity, which is why that's my tagline for my business. Serve first, a better way to sell. Serve first with integrity. Okay. So on day 2, you've solved the problem. They've gone and they've implemented, and now they're making an extra $200 or more, $500, $1,000 per sale because you fixed this main friction problem. You do the same thing on day 2. Now they're amazed. They're becoming a fan. Day 3, you solve a 3rd problem, and now they're a super fan. You've called out 2 or 3 of the individuals as super big action takers. They've done all their assignments, and you're going to give them a special VIP one-on-one or one-on-some, like a small group setting of 5 or so. 1 to 5 basically, and you're going to have a special session just for them before day 4 starts. Okay, that's over here, day 4. Day 4 comes, and now you've solved 2 problems already. So you solved a problem on day 2, you solved a second problem on day 3. Now you're going to solve problem 3 on day 4. You're the 4th day in now. You're pretty much like BFFs with the customers at this point, okay? But here's the psychology from day 4. And I know I'm going over on my 20 minutes, but it's worth it. I'm going to wrap up with money in a moment. If you don't get this, you're not going to understand money and won't make any sense to you. So please stick with me for another 10 minutes. Have grace. Okay. So on day 4, you've solved a 3rd problem. And now they're thinking, this person is an expert. In 3 days, they've solved the 3 biggest problems that I could possibly ever have come with. And I've made more money than I have in 3 days than I have in the last 3 years because of this person who's amazing. Now they realize in day 1, on that foundational day, you laid out 9 to 11 problems that they need to solve to get to the desired place of happiness, of being a multi-millionaire owner of a business, whatever you're selling. They're now 6 steps away from getting that done and running out of time in this week. That's by design. On day 4, you do a soft pitch. By the way, if you're liking this, there's more that you can get after the challenge. We'll talk about that tomorrow. You're not talking about money. You're not going to say you're going to hit them up for $20,000. You're just saying you're seeding the fact that you are going to ask for money tomorrow on day 5. Okay? And so then you over deliver and you do a home run on the end of day 4. You give them some amazing, wonderful implementation homework. They do it. They make more money. They're so happy. They can't wait for day 5. They're chomping at the bit. Maybe you're offering some extra mindset stuff, whatever, as a bonus session. Day 5 hits, and this is where we make all the money. We make all the money. You and I. Okay? Getting the money in about 1 minute or less. I'm going to get to money. Day 5, you pitch. It's the final day of the challenge, everybody. This has been a journey. We've seen problem 1 solved. We've seen problem 2 solved. We've seen problem 3 solved. We have a brand new foundation. Your eyes are open. There's 6 more, 7 more, 8 more issues we need to solve, though. We're running out of time, guys. Here's what we offer. And then I will train you. If you don't know how to close more than $5,000 at no extra charge, I'm going to offer you training into my like a little tiny boot camp from my 12-week sales academy. I'm going to offer you the Frantic 5 framework, which will teach you an ethical way to ask for more than $5,000 per customer. It's high ticket sales closing. Okay. So no worries. If you're not a salesperson, you can take that training and I will work with you on a boot camp. It takes about a week to learn it. It's a challenge, okay? But you can get access to it via videos and watch all the videos on your own time frame and be prepared if you want to close. If you don't want to close, I can close it for you, okay? I've done this for over 24 years, 25 years now. I have asked for things as high as $1.2 million in one ask from one company. You might have heard of them before, the movie studio called Stars. That's right. I quoted the workers' comp for them when I worked for Berkshire Hathaway, and it was $1.2 million that I quoted. When you ask for over $1 million from a company that big, everything changes the way you do sales. Asking for $5,000 is very simple for me. Extremely easy. Matter of fact, when I worked for that company, the smallest ask I ever did was $250,000. And by the way, I would ask 30, 60 large Fortune 500 companies every single month, and I worked there for 6 years. You can do the math on how many times I've asked for over $250,000. Okay. So here's the deal. If you are shy about asking for a high ticket and you've always wanted to create an academy, talk to me offline and I will show you how to create an academy. What is an academy? It's like a challenge on steroids. You're going to be going 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, a year with those special clients that are going to fork out $5,000 or more. Listen, if you're offering a year of mentorship, you should be charging around $10K minimum. $20K would be better. Do the math on that. $20K divided by 12 months, maybe give them a bonus second year where you're only touching base with them for 30 minutes every 3 months. They don't even realize that. And how the Frantic 5 works is that you offer some bonuses that create real value and real urgency and real scarcity. I don't have time to get into right now because I'm already going over on my time. So speaking about money, I have my school community set up for a 40% affiliate payout. What that means is if you have your own school community or if you invite individual people to join my community, anytime they spend money with a paid option that has an affiliate on it, you will get 40% of whatever they buy. My community is free to join, so you don't make any money then. But when they join and they decide to buy a $100 product, you make 40% of that. You make $40. And school will pay you automatically. They sign up for your challenge, and we charge $100 to attend it. Everybody who signs up, you make $40. I make $60. Okay? That's how the money works. It's all handled in school. And I typically don't negotiate for more than a 50-50 split. And depending on if we're doing a summit or a challenge, I would totally be worth my time to increase the 40% affiliate to 50. I'd be happy to do that. You're bringing in higher quality customers. You're making more money. I'm making more money. Not really worth my time to give you more than 40% on a workshop or a webinar. Because that's kind of a bit of a headache for me to, let's say you have a 500 people that go to, let's say you have 500 people that go to let's say you have 500 people that attend a workshop. And you expect me to go through all my records for 500 people and pay you a 10% difference on each of them. That's a lot of work. Okay. Less people go to summits and challenges because they're a longer time commitment. Okay. But they pay a lot more money. That's worth my time. So you might have 100 people pay you $100 each. So 100 times 100 is 1 plus 4 zeros. So 10K. I would certainly split that in half with you, and 4,000 would be paid through school, and then the other 1,000 would be a separate PayPal payment, Venmo, however you want me to send it to you. Okay, that's the numbers. If you are doing a summit with me or a challenge, I will go up to 50%. 40% will be paid in school, and the other 10% will be paid outside of school. And that's it. It's that simple. I like to keep things as simple as possible. Now, one last thing. I need 5 more minutes. I want to make this as simple as easy for you as possible. But I need you to participate. You can't just show up and speak. It doesn't work that way. Because we're not going to sell as many seats. You need to have a little bit of skin in the game. So what I'm going to do for you is this. I'm going to make this as easy as possible. I will present to you 80% of the work. You just need to copy and paste and actually implement it. What do I mean? I'm going to create for you automated, templated emails, somewhere between 1 to 5 emails. We're not going to ask too much of you, but you need to have a few touch points. You need to use that 10 or 20,000 people email network you have. Matter of fact, you're required to do that. Cannot be a speaker with me unless you agree to partner with me. I'm not looking for a one-off. big infusion of money. I want to partner with you. I want to be able to do this more than once with you. I don't want to see your email list go from 20,000 to 30,000 because you did a challenge with me and you got a whole bunch of new customers through me. And all that evergreen content is just going to grow your long-term influence. I'm not looking for short-term partnerships or short-term scratch my back situations. I scratch yours. I'm not going to buy something from you and then you buy something from me. No, this is a real partnership. Like we're shaking hands and we actually have a memorandum of operation document that I signed you that lays everything out in writing. So I'm not just verbally promising I'm going to give you 50%. I'm going to put it in writing that I'm going to give you 50%. So we're all held accountable. I'm held accountable. You're held accountable. Let's stop and take a look at numbers for a moment. I know I've been sharing my screen just so you see what my community looks like here. Let's see here. Okay, I apologize. That's an update from Zoom that mutes me for 10 seconds and every time I share my screen and sound. So this is what my community looks like. And it is currently 131 as of the point of February 8th. By the way, I have grown this organically with no help from anyone else. No one gave me any shout out. No one ever gave me an endorsement. It's February. I started this basically December 1st. January, 2 months. So in about a little over 2 months, so about 60 days or whatever, there have been 131 high-powered, high-engaging people in my community. And I'll show you the proof of that. I'm down here in my metrics. You see all this green? That means really high activities. This dark green, there's over 463 activities that happened on that one little day or two. That's a lot of interaction. These are not people who are just vanity numbers. These are people who are super fans, okay? And that's the kind of best customer you want, okay? Also, I started at the rank of 8182. So 8,182 of the best. I was ranked. That's how good I was when I first started. That means that there were around 8,000 better communities on day one when I opened the doors on basically December 1st. Okay. 60 days later, let me show you the real lifetime rank of how better I am now. I'm currently 519 best school community in the category of money. Okay, so there's probably 10,000 schools, communities in that category of money because there's so many people talk about money. Okay, so what that means is in 60 days, get my calculator out. 8182 minus 519. I have beat over 7,663 other schools in 60 days. What the heck do you think I'm going to do in the next 60 days, everybody? Okay? So why would you come be all excited about 131 people? Because it ain't going to be that way forever. In the next 6 months, I should be around 500 to 1,000 people in the community that are all super fans. Okay? So you all may have some followings that are 1 million people. If that's the case, you know that 800,000, 900,000 of them don't even watch your stuff anymore. They're vanity numbers. You know that. But those last 100,000 are super fans. Those are the people that I have right now. So I'm up there with you, even though the numbers don't look like much, but I'm up there with you with influence. Okay. We're also Christian. And so we have a higher ethic of, in my opinion, a more ethical, higher integrity in the way that we do business. We tend to have the customers usually have more money because God blesses his children. with finances and resourcefulness, resilience, and they're just plain nicer people to work with. Do you want to work with a person who's kind and respectful or rude and entitled? Typically, Christians are more kind and respectful because of the Bible, because of Jesus Christ's teachings. So, to bring this in for a landing, the goal is for you to see the big picture. My email list is growing. My super fans are growing. The goal by the end of 12 months will be over 1,500 in the group. Super fans, 1,500. Which means that overnight, you'll get access to 1,500 super fans that could be spending $5,000 to $20,000 with you. Is that worth your time? Okay. I hope I got your attention. Now, as I mentioned, it's a 50-50 split. So that will be negotiated on each opportunity. I know that we're going to be doing a 50-50 split of the admission. So if you're doing a 5-day challenge and you're charging $100, $50 for you per person that attends, $50 for me. It's not very fair of me to collect a high percentage of your high ticket item because you're fulfilling, I'm not. I'm the facilitator. So here's what I present to you. Depending on what your high ticket cost is, will dictate if I even want anything of your high ticket cost. You may be able to come in and do $1,000 high ticket, and I may take nothing of it. I may be just happy with getting my school community grown, getting access to your emails, to be in your world, and we wash our hands and we're good. You made 50% on each member that paid, $100. You made $50 for each 100. Let's say there's 100 people that come. You get $50 each person for a $100 ticket. That's a good payday for 5 days, okay? And then you upsell them and get a chance to make an additional $1,000 per every buyer. And of those 100, just so you know, the industry standard is you're going to close 10% of them. Unless you're incredible and you can do more than 10%, which some people are. So, but you guys have a realistic point of view to up front to understand what the heck actually works, okay? And if you're doing better than 10% close rate on a 5-day event, congratulations, you're amazing, okay? So, in the example of math, you have 100 people spending $100, okay? So let's get the calculator out so you can see what's going on. 100 people spending $100 each equals $10,000. We're doing a 50-50 split, so $10,000 divided by 2, $5,000 for you, $5,000 for me, okay? There's 100 people, okay? And 10% of that is going to be 10, okay? So you have 10 people that are going to buy your academy. And let's say you charge $1,000 for easy math for the academy, and it's 8 weeks long. For an additional 8 weeks with you for $1,000, that's a pretty good value of time frame. You're going to make an extra $10,000. And let's say I'm happy with that. Good for you. Thank you for being my speaker. You brought value to my community. My community was 130. Now it's 250. I'm good. I'm happy. I got all those extra super fans now that came from your world that I wouldn't have had access to before. Thank you. You keep the 10,000. You're doing all the work, okay? And you made 5,000 from the week. So you're going to come ahead. You're going to be at $15,000 I'm offering you for 5 days of teaching my community. Is that worth your time? Is that worth me giving you 5 emails and you actually send them out? Is that worth me actually getting on a Zoom call with you and doing 2 quick recordings that are 10 minutes each? And we promote it that way? And then we go live on TikTok. We go live on social media, wherever, 2 or 3 times? Well, all of that can be done in about an hour of marketing together. We do 2 interviews that are 10 minutes each, 20 minutes. Okay. Then we do some lives on TikTok. Those take the most, at least 30 minutes. Okay. Usually TikTok's an hour. So we'll just say an hour with that. So we're at an hour and 20 minutes at this point of your work, of your time. And then how long does it take you to program your email notifications? 10 minutes, 20 minutes? We're at an hour and 20 minutes total so far. Let's just say it takes 40 minutes. In 2 hours of work, 2 hours of work, and giving me what I want so we can promote this properly and get as many people in the seats as possible, the virtual seats. By the way, I only do this on Zoom. We don't do anywhere else. We do Zoom challenges and summits and webinars, and everything is done on Zoom, 100%, no matter what level you buy in on. For 2 hours of work, would you make $15,000? Are you willing to let me give you and what you need to promote this? Listen, if you already have 20,000 people in your following, you know this is how it works. You know you got to do your part. Has anyone ever come to you and given you everything like this? I'm basically doing 80% of the work. You just need to repost it and talk to me for an hour and 20 minutes. I don't think I'm asking too much, right? Okay? Because if you think I'm asking too much, then you are not the right speaker for me. I do not want to speak to you. Okay? I have made this as simple as possible, but I will tell you the truth. I have done this so many times. If you don't give me the 2 hours, your event doesn't have very much turnout. You blame me. I am not going to work with speakers that are like that. Okay? You have to do your part, and I've made it very small. I've made it 2 hours of work. That's all. It's very kind of me. If you're still listening and you're not offended and you're a strong speaker, you have a strong mind, and you're willing to partner with something that you see like this business makes sense, like I'm winning. I only have to do 2 hours of work? Are you crazy? And I'm going to make $15,000. I mean, for some of you, you make $15,000 every 3 hours. I get that. But some of you don't make that kind of money right now. Would you like to make that money? Well, I can help you. I do this all the time. Okay? And by the way, I use Ecamm when we're going live on virtual events, and it is an experience. I mean, it is amazing. Okay? I mean, it's like the same program Alicia Little uses, and she has 300,000, 500,000 people joining her live. I'm using the same quality of broadcast program. Same. The videos and everything is smooth. All the extra effects and everything is smooth. You're going to be in for an experience. Let me put it that way. We can also layer in their sponsorships if we want to do sponsors to pay for the event. We can talk offline on that because this is already going way over on my time frame. I'm sorry. If you're not familiar with Skool, here's a quick tour for 1 minute. The main thread is just like any other social media, Facebook or whatever. You can see all these different people posting, and we have, as you know, over 20 pages of thread to go through. Your post can get lost in an hour with me because people post so prolifically with me. Then it gets organized in what's called the classroom. And here's my classroom. And here is what it looks like as a customer. You got some free options here. Step 1, explaining how to use Skool. Start here modules, how to use it. Step 1 is making sure you got your Christian faith solid. Step 2 is a prayer challenge where you're getting closer to Jesus Christ for 30 days. This is to establish rapport and to establish faith. So I know everyone's on the same page or similar page. And then you get down to the paid options, which, by the way, you can charge up to $10,000 per classroom if you wanted, if you have high ticket, lots of high ticket. And I do that. See, here's a $500 ticket. Remember I told you earlier, you get access to the Frantic 5 framework. I charge $500 for that. Okay. I'm going to train you. I'm going to unlock that for you. I'm going to give you a $500 bonus if you don't know how to do high ticket closing sales. Just for working with me, I'm going to give you a $500 value. Okay. And then you have the affiliates. This is affiliate money. I don't even have time to talk about affiliate money if you don't understand that. We'll talk offline. And then down here is where we're getting into more of my low, mid-term, and high-ticket items. I charge $500 for 30 minutes of mentoring with me. And then here's my $10,000 package. Here is my 6-month sales academy. And it has a little bit of grant writing in there. But if you want the Grant Writing Academy, it is a 1-year commitment, and that's another $10,000. So those are my high tickets that I sell in school. Okay. And then you have the calendar up here where you can see different events and you can see what's going on. You can choose whether or not you want to come or not. And then you can add it to your calendar like this. This is a customer doing it. Okay. And then you can just kind of see the flow of things here, and that's really cool. And you can also see a map of all over the world where all of your people are. As you can see, I've got people in Africa and the Middle East. I've got them up in Europe and England and lots of the United States and Canada. Got some in Australia. Got some over here in Asia. So I have a global community. It's global. Okay. So, and I even have, some in South America too. But anyway, here's the deal. That's how school works. Okay. Then they have an about page that, does the selling for you. If you do not have a school community and you're in a Facebook group, you're at danger. Facebook can kill your money anytime they want. I know a friend who, his name's Kim. He lost his Facebook group. He lost $20,000 reoccurring money a month from Facebook when they shut it down. And he couldn't get it back. He freaked out. Within 6 months, he had made $100K again because he had the skill, the knowledge, the mentorship. But he was doing it through school now. You own your school community. School communities were made by Alex Hormozi as a co-founder in order to fix the Facebook problem, where you can never lose your school community. It's like renting a brick and mortar building. It's yours, okay? But the landlord's nice and will never kick you out. That's how it works. All right, so my video is over, and you know the money. You know the different paths. You know the different time frames you can teach. You know how much the different amount of money you can make. You know kind of what my expectations are for you and I to partner with, so that way we're sharing each other's networks and doing the best to fill the seats and doing our best to make the most money. If you have any more questions at this point, I'm very, very happy to talk to you about a one-on-one. And it's very simple. You just go to calendly.com/legacy blueprint now. So calendly.com/legacy blueprint now. And that's my calendar. You're going to see it. Let me show my screen here. It's going to put me on mute for like 10 seconds here. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me now. I didn't share the sound, so I think it's still recording my sound. So this is calendly.com/legacy blueprint now. It's super simple. Just choose a 30-minute meeting with me as your next action step. Now, here's a little pro tip. If you know you have a lot of questions, you can select 2 of these. Don't do more than 2 because I am very busy, but I'll give you an hour, 8:30 and 9 a.m. You could book both of those. You just have to book them separately. So then you'll have an hour with me. Okay. So that way I'm not running to the next person. Okay. And so that's what I highly recommend. You book 2 sessions with me. That's a free follow-up. I'm not going to charge you my $500 for half-hour rate that I normally do, because I want to partner with you. I want to reduce the friction on just getting your questions answered. You can also email me at alan@legacyblueprintnow.com. Now, if you haven't done so already, go to that website, legacyblueprintnow.com. I'm going to be changing it a lot over time, like the next month. It may not look exactly like this when you go there, and my emails are always getting updated, so they might be slightly out of date because I do so many events. It's hard for me to keep like dropping in new campaigns. But so if you get some kind of email automation about something that's already happened, just have grace, because I haven't had a chance to update it to the next campaign yet. Okay, so just have grace. Okay, so anyway, my team can only get things done so quickly, so it is what it is, and I have a lot of activity going on all the time. So this is the website, and you simply put your email in here, and then you'll get into my automated emails, and you can email me directly that way. If you have any other questions, let me know via email. Be the best way to do it. Or to get into my Skool community. And it's very simple. You just go to skool.com/legacy blueprint now. Skool.com/legacy blueprint now. You're probably in my Skool community already. And if you haven't got into my Skool community, it's skool.com. So let me type it here where it's really big here. You go to www.skool.com/legacy blueprint now. That's it. Okay. And then if you want to book a time with me, it's www.calendly.com/legacy blueprint now. Take a screenshot of this and see if I can get it on there. No, it's too long. Okay. I can take off the www part and it'll probably fit. There we go. So take a screenshot of this. So skool.com/legacy blueprint now. And then you can also do calendly.com/legacy blueprint now. Okay. So God bless you. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you book a time with me. I appreciate it. Let's meet together via Zoom for our next action step. All right. God bless.